Champions League final in his first season in charge. Breaking down into some smaller drills. But as we've seen in many of the training sessions at Säbener Straße, a lot of the focus is on work in tight spaces, dealing with pressure being applied, breaking the lines, warding off the shoulder of the last man, as we saw Matisse Tell do to great effect there. But first you've got to win the Rondo. Ball into feet. And now who's ready to finish? All right, should have been Iran Kunda. Gnabry whiffing at it as well, and Iran Kunda puts it in the end. Now, Grant asking in the chat, am I enjoying South Korea, or are they keeping me at home? I can tell you they have kept me at home on this occasion. But do not begrudge the people that are out there enjoying the trip to South Korea. It must be a wonderful place to visit. Fortunately for me, having a wife and child at home means it's not as easy to take a long-haul trip across to Asia. Nevertheless, we get to enjoy training sessions like this. We'll, of course, have coverage of the friendly against Tottenham live on FC Bayern TV Plus, which if you haven't subscribed to yet, I would highly recommend it, Bayern fans, because you get a whole host of behind-the-scenes content. Very unique content as well, everything from training videos to post-match interviews or one-on-one sit-downs, and then, of course, live coverage of these pre-season friendlies. We've had two already. The first against Ortach Egen, a 14-1 win for Bayern. And the second, a 1-1 draw against Erste FC Düren, a fourth-tier side that are already kicked off their campaign and, as a result, made that game a lot more competitive. Now, though, Bayern taking on Tottenham, and Vincent Kompany talking in his press conference about the fact that Spurs, as they're nicknamed, have already had about 4 highly competitive fixtures. So, of course, they're going to be a little further along in their preparations than Bayern. But he said ultimately the priority for Bayern is to build the team's fitness. And he said while his players, he'll accept them not being 100% physically fit, he won't accept them not being 100% mentally fit. Still a lot of love for Musiala and Thomas Müller in the chat. And then questions coming in as well, a couple I've seen already. When will Harry Kane be back in camp, and whether he was going to be playing against Tottenham on August 10th. Right now, he hasn't made the trip to South Korea, so he won't be taking on Tottenham tomorrow. And the way Vincent Kompany was talking about Harry Kane suggested that he might not feature in pre-season, but he would potentially be ready for that first round of the DFB Pokal against SSV Ulm. It is a shame because, of course, taking on Tottenham would have been a chance to take on his former club, where he made a name for himself and claimed legendary status. Talk about Gerd Müller being an elite finisher. Same could be said of Harry Kane. Incredible turnout as well here at the Seoul World Cup Stadium, which will be sold out tomorrow. Could have been sold out a couple of times over, I'm sure, based on the demand for tickets. Josip asking whether Giovanni Elba is in Seoul as a club ambassador. I'll be honest, Josip, I don't know. So I'm not going to pretend I do. But there is a chance, because they normally do take a legend or two with them on these trips, Bayern München. And it is saying, I want to see Kane lift a trophy and Bayern to win the Bundesliga in dominating fashion. It really would be nice, wouldn't it? Harry Kane might have come to join Bayern thinking that he'd pick up a title or two, but the first season didn't quite go according to plan, and that was not down to his efforts at all, which were exemplary. recently celebrated his 31st birthday as well, so in case he's tuning into this live stream, happy birthday, Harry Kane. And Jamal Musiala was in great goal-scoring form for Germany during the Euros. He'll be hoping to continue that into the season for Bayern. Of course, he ended the season quite strong as well after maybe not quite herring out of the blocks the way we expected him to. The goals weren't as free-flowing initially, but they certainly arrived come the end of the season, where he broke double digits once again in all competitions. And Marie Huber is asking a question that unfortunately I cannot answer, and the reason being we don't discuss transfer speculation on streams like this. We deal with done deals and done deals only. So unfortunately, we cannot comment on speculation at all. Although I do believe the player in question that you're asking about, a decision has already been made on that front. But we prefer to only talk about players that are on Bayern's books right now, and we've got so much talent that it's not exactly difficult to talk about them. Injuries were certainly an issue last season, so the question is, can they avoid those same problems in the coming campaign? Someone like Serge Gnabry, who normally would have had such a big role to play, as we see Thomas Müller there scoring against not one, but two goalkeepers. That's just how good he is. A little bit of finishing practice for the fans to enjoy here in South Korea. But the likes of Serge Gnabry, who had such injury-hit seasons. I think it was a fractured arm, it was a thigh and muscular issues as well for him. And a lot of these Bayern players would just be hoping to stay fully fit for the full campaign. And then the competition for places is rife. Just look at the centre-back role alone. Min-Jae Kim, Matthijs de Ligt, Dayot Upamecano, Eric Dyer, Hiroki Ito in the mix as well. Though unfortunately, as mentioned earlier, a broken bone in his foot means that his start to life as a Bayern player, not off on the best foot, no pun intended. But it was club president Herbert Hainer who said that the biggest challenge is that Bayern must always follow the Bayern path, and that is without major investors as well. And a lot of talk, including from President Herbert Hainer, about relying more on the academy. But Max Ebel, the board director of sport, Christoph Freund, the sporting director, Vincent Kompany, the head coach, have all talked about implementing young players. Josip Stanisic right now is one of just 3 Bayern players in the senior squad that have come through the academy, the other 2 being Alexander Pavlovic and Jamal Musiala, of course. But they want more of that. You think of the likes of Thomas Müller, Philipp Lahm, David Alaba. I always do that. Always do that with his name. It's just such instinct to pronounce it the German way. But for a couple of years now, Bayern haven't quite been bringing through the youth players like they used to, and as a result, they want to put more focus on that. That's why they're so excited about some of the young prospects. Vincent Kompany saying that he's getting a good impression of some of these young players. And we mentioned that the teenagers that have made the trip to South Korea: Noel Aseko, Adam Asnu, Javier Fernandez, who I have to say, for me, he has been the most impressive teenager in pre-season. Adin Lacina has, of course, scored a couple of goals, bagged a brace in that 14-1 win against Rotach Egen. He scored the first 2 goals that Bayern scored in that game, and had a hand in plenty of others, whether it was with the final pass or not. But Javier Fernandez, in terms of his physical stature as a holding midfielder, I think offers a lot of promise for the future. So he is one to watch. Adam Asnu, you have to say, impressed at left back after coming on for Hiroki Ito after he got injured against FC Düren. And so the fact is, there are several young players right now that Bayern fans can get excited about, that the Bayern bosses can be confident can maybe make the breakthrough at some point to become fully fledged Bayern players. because it's not an easy step to make. Jamal Musiala made it look easy, but that's because Jamal Musiala is Jamal Musiala. He has the type of footballing talent that many of us can only dream of. And Marcus asking whether I play football, and yes, recreationally, but unfortunately a pretty nasty knee injury did me in. Not that I say that as if I ever would have gone on to a professional career or anything. Absolutely not. I was a rank amateur.